Greetings, and welcome to the DoubleTake demonstration of DoubleTake Move full server migration. In this short video, we're going to show you how easy you can migrate from one platform, physical virtual cloud, to any other platform with DoubleTake Move for an entire server. So let's go ahead and get started. In this example, what we're going to be migrating a Windows 2012 R2 server, and we're going to be migrating that from one server to another. So what I've done beforehand is I have two Windows 2012 R2 servers. Doesn't matter where they're at. Again, they could be local, remote. They can vary as far as Intel, AMD, physical, virtual, cloud. None of that really matters to us, but I have two Windows 2012 R2 servers. I've installed DoubleTake on each one of those servers, and I've put the DoubleTake Move license on them. On a third server, I've installed the DoubleTake console. I've opened that up here, and I've added those servers, and the source is highlighted. A couple new things about DoubleTake 8 that you may notice in the console. We do have a getting started section where it actually kind of guides you through that process if you want to do that. We also have a context-sensitive search right here, so you can filter out servers if you have a lot of those in there. And we've also gotten rid of the Getting Started button to make it a little bit easier to get to the point where the jobs are being created. What we do now is we simply right-click a server, and then you get the option to protect, recover, or migrate. Since I only have DoubleTake Move licensing on there, migrate's my only option. It gets rid of several steps here and takes us immediately into the job selection page. Now that we're at the job selection page, the job we're going to be doing is the full server migration. Once I select that, all the volumes on the right are selected. I only have the C volume, but if I had a D, E, F, those would be selected as well. And I can unselect those volumes if I wanted to. You can also go down to replication rules and customize the rules for any particular volume to include or exclude folders or files or wildcards. I don't want to make any changes, so I'm just going to go ahead and click Next and choose my target. Since I picked full server migration, the target that I want to select is this target here. The other server here is a Hyper-V server, and that can't necessarily be a target for full server migration, but it would be my target if I want to do a full server to Hyper-V migration. So I'm going to select the R2-2 server and go ahead and click Next. At this point, we're going to go to the Set Options page. There's a lot of options here for full server migrations. I'm not going to go through all of them. What I would recommend is that you hit F1 and you're going to get detailed information about all the different job options that are available and what you can do with all the options that are available with DoubleTake Move. A couple key ones that I do want to go over. The first is failover options. Failover options, first one is wait for user initiate failover. If I uncheck this, once we get that mirror done, that initial copy of data from A to B, we would go ahead and immediately start the cutover. Now, typically, we're going to migrate over the weekend, so I'm going to leave that checked. Also, we're going to shut down the source server, which of course is something we want to do in case this was like a test migration. Last one, change target ports to match source during the cutover. What that means, if the port information on the target is different than the source, we're going to go ahead and change the DoubleTake ports to match at failover. Also, we do have the option right here for scripts. This is a pre-failover script. Anything before the reboot process, post-failover is anything after. So you could do any host of scripting options to do any sort of custom tasks that you may want. Under failover identity, we can apply the source network configuration. This is great in LAN environments when they're on the same subnet, but we can also retain the target network configuration. That means keep the target's IP address, and we can also update a DNS server if it's using a Microsoft Active Directory integrated zone. Under the network route, the only thing I want to show you here is a new feature in 8 that if I specify a public IP address here in the send data to target server section, what we can also do is change the port. This allows us to do port forwarding, so that way in smaller environments where you don't have a static one-to-one NAT translation, but you need to use a port forwarding, we have that feature in DoubleTake 8. There's lots of other options here regarding compression and bandwidth and things like that, but again, not going to go over all of those. Highly recommend utilizing the help. There's great information in here. Once you click Next, you're taken to the summary screen. The summary screen is a pre-flight checklist to make sure everything's okay. Once it's done, you can scroll up and down, see if there's any warnings or errors. It'll tell you what the error or the warning is and possibly have the ability to fix it. If you don't have any, you can simply click Finish and it'll go ahead and create the job. Now that our job is created, let's go ahead and highlight that job here, and we're going to see lots of options in here. Right now it's doing that mirroring process. That's the one-time process to get the data in sync between the source and target. It would also do this anytime the source service DoubleTake would restart or the source server would restart. But once this is done, we will be in sync, and then replication is always occurring from right now until the moment you hit cutover. That way any changes done on the production system are automatically sent to the target in real time, so that you always have an up-to-date version. This whole process can take a little bit to happen, but however, we're not taking any users offline. I didn't have to take any users offline during installation, during job creation, or this mirroring and replication process. So this can run for a day or 2 days or 3 weeks or however long it needs to before you need to do the cutover. So what we're going to do is we're going to hang out for a little bit and allow this process to complete, and once it does, we're going to go ahead and do our cutover. So our mirror has completed and we are now in a protecting state, so we could truly migrate at any time. A couple things I want to show you before we do the migration. Of course, I want to show you the highlights down at the bottom. You can see a mirror skipped of 1.1 gigabytes. This means we're always comparing the data, even with the initial mirror that occurred when we created the job. So this allows you to pre-seed data if you want to, especially if you have a slow connection or a lot of data to pre-seed. Couple things here also with the byte sent and byte sent compressed. Notice those two numbers are the same. That means I didn't turn on compression. If I had compression, highly recommended across a WAN. If you don't have a WAN accelerator, you would see a different amount here for the amount of data we actually did send. The last thing I do want to show you here is the recovery point latency. This is a new statistic in DoubleTake 8. What this is going to highlight is that the source and target are in sync if that recovery point latency is at 0. If it's anything other than 0, you don't want to migrate at that exact time. You want to wait for that data to catch up so you have everything from the source and target. Also with the job, if you ever wanted to, you can go ahead and double click on the job. You get details about the job. You can edit the job on the fly if you wanted to. All that's possible with DoubleTake Move. Before we actually do the migration, what I want to do as well is I want to go ahead and create some change on the source server so we can see that going over the target, and then we'll take a look at the target server. I've connected to the share on the source server. Let's go ahead and let's create some files just so we can see the data going over there. So as I'm creating these files, they're being sent over in real time to the target. And now let's go over the target because I want to highlight the staging folder. I'm now on the target server, and we can see those files that I created just a second ago are already on the target. But what I do want to highlight is this folder right here, staging-SSM. What this folder is, it's a temporary housing for all of the system state data that the source had. So this is Windows, program files, users, program data, and all that stuff. And this is done because we can't necessarily overwrite the target because the target is currently in use because it is running Windows. So you always need a little bit of extra space on the target, and what we'll see here is that we have approximately, it's still growing, but we see approximately about 15 gigs worth of data. And with this 15 gigs worth of data, what we're going to do is we're going to see that data shrink, and this folder can be easily deleted afterwards to regain all that space after the migration. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to our production environment. Let's do the migration. I'm back in the DoubleTake console, so right click, I can go ahead and do the cutover right from here if I wanted to, but also I can highlight the job and I have all the same options up at the top. So let's click the cutover button and I have the option to cut over to live data. I'm going to go ahead and do that cutover, and again, but in the job properties I have the option to leave the source running, which would basically be the equivalent of a test. I didn't check that option, so we're doing an actual live cutover right now. So the source server is shutting down at this point, and now it's doing the system state processing. It's taking all that data in that staging-SSM folder, moving it to its right spot, creating a brand new registry, combining the source's software registry, all the applications and everything, and the target's hardware registry, all the information about the platform and the hardware it's going to, and combining them to make a new one. Once all that moving and making of a new registry is done, it's going to go ahead and restart. At that point, we have completed our migration. So we're going to hang out for just a few minutes and allow that to occur. As we can see, we're completely failed over at this point, so the only thing left to do now is to go ahead and delete the job. As we're deleting the job, however, I want to go ahead and go to the target server so we can see what happened there. I'm on the target server now, and we can see I still have those files that are still there. I still have that staging-ssm folder. However, if we look at the properties of it, we're going to see that it's much smaller. It was actually 18 gigs when it was done with the calculation. Now it's down to like 300 megabytes. You can check out everything, make sure it all works, and once you do that, you can go ahead and safely delete this folder and your migration is complete. This brings us to the end of the DoubleTake demonstration of DoubleTake Move full server failover. To learn more and to stay informed, please give us a call at the number on your screen or visit us at doubletake.com. I'd like to thank you for your time and have a great day.